welcome back everybody to the FC Clubhouse Online as we're getting ready for really our last Sunday in 2020, and so I'm glad you guys are joining in and tuning in, catching this with us. And so we're gonna get ready for our question of the week. It's gonna be on the screen, and I'd love to have you guys put it in the comments. But I wanna know if you guys have any New Year resolutions, and if you do, if you'd be willing to share one of those. So we're gonna get ready for a time of worship, and so I'm gonna encourage you guys to stand up and sing and dance with me as we just take these next few moments worshiping God and really just doing that because of who He is, and so I'd love for you to join me in this.
I used to live like I was under attack, dodging arrows from my past. I had no hope for tomorrow. Felt so much pressure, yes, I thought I would crack. But now there's no looking back. I'm moving forward cause I know I got my armor now. No fear, no doubt, can't shoot me down, yeah. I got my armor now. No fear, no doubt, gonna shoot me down, 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 now. Control. My soul is untouchable because you've already won me. My victory is not in this flesh and bone, it's in the cross, and I know nobody's taking it from me. I got my armor now, no fear, no doubt, can't shoot me down, yeah. I got my armor now, no fear, no doubt, gonna shoot me down, 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 now. Because spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. And you have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God.
So last week we had finished a series called Incredible Christmas, and so we kind of have this, that awkward one Sunday before the new year, and I was thinking about really what we could be talking about, and so we're going to read a passage today in Daniel chapter 3, and I really think it's a really good passage for us to kind of dive in and look at as we're kind of spending our time together. I don't know how many of you guys have ever done the bottle flip challenge. It was really popular a while back. You saw people on Facebook, YouTube. Maybe you were sitting in school and you just saw your friends that were flipping this bottle. And the idea is really simple. So you would take this water bottle. Unfortunately, I don't think I have one on me. But you would take this water bottle, and usually it's probably about half full, around that, and you would flip it in the air. It would flip once, and the goal is to try to get the water bottle to land standing up, right? And so that's really the flip that you would do. And it really, the idea of it all depends on how the bottle lands for you to be able to do it. And you can have a really fancy flip. You can do all these crazy things. But if your water bottle doesn't land standing up, right, it's kind of a fail almost. And honestly, life can be like that sometimes. Every one of us, we go through really hard times. Things that challenge us can make us upset. Even think about this past year and all the craziness we've had to go through in 2020, right? And so, in those tough times, it's really easy for us to want to, kind of flip out, right? But where do we land? And that's really the important question of what we're going to talk about. And so, to kind of I'm leading with that question is, will we be able to endure those things, the tough times, and end up landing, like we're supposed to, like the water bottle standing up? And so for this answer, we're going to focus, like I said, reading a really cool passage in Daniel 3. And we're going to look at these three guys. They kind of have some hard names to pronounce, but it's called Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And so we're going to be saying their names quite often, so I want to encourage you guys to kind of hang with me on that. And so we see that these guys were in a really tough situation. They lived in this foreign land, and there was the king, he made this rule, this law, that you really had to worship him, worship other gods. And he had created this golden statue of himself, and when the people, they were ordered to, during their day, stop what they were doing and worship him. But yet we see Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they only worshiped one true God. And so they couldn't, and they wouldn't bow down to this statue. And so we're actually going to pick up on the story, kind of having that context in mind. So it's going to be on the screen. I'd love for you to join me. We're going to start at verse 16. So it says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. So just to kind of pause right there, what's happening is, so like I said, those three guys, they didn't want to, or they wouldn't obey his law and worship him, and that made the king really mad. And so the King Nebuchadnezzar says, all right, if you guys aren't going to listen, I'm going to throw you into this furnace. And so that's kind of the context of that. Verse 18 says, but even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar was furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and his attitude towards them changed. He ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual and commanded some of the strongest soldiers in his army to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. So these men, wearing their robes, trousers, turbans, and other clothes, were bound and thrown into the blazing furnace. The king's command was so urgent and the furnace was so hot that the flames of the fire killed the soldiers who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, firmly tied, fell into the blazing furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar leaped to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, weren't there 3 men that we tied up and threw into the fire? They replied, certainly, your majesty. He said, look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed. And the 4th looks like a son of the gods. Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire. And the satraps, prefects, governors, and royal advisors crowded around them. They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was a hair of their heads singed. Their robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on them. So when we read this story, we see Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They're in a really, really tough situation, right? They were being punished because they didn't follow the law that the king Nebuchadnezzar gave, and that was to worship this gold statue of himself. And so the king, he takes them. He's getting ready to throw them into this furnace. And really, the easy thing in this moment would have been to say, okay, I will worship this statue. Just don't hurt me. But we see these 3 friends, these 3 guys, they knew in that moment, in that situation, that was not the right thing for them to do. And they said that they would only worship the one true God. And they knew they must stay faithful in that. And so they really, if they could have, flipped out, but instead they continued to put their trust in God. Because they truly believed and knew that God had the power to save them. And that's the same for us, true. Like God truly has the power to save us. And even see us as we're going through different things. And so we see them in this story, they trusted God, and God was able to protect them while they were in the furnace, right? Because like I said earlier, we all go through really tough times, go through tough situations. And there are times, we get turned and flipped like around in life, just like a water bottle does. And I don't know, maybe it's someone's bullying you at school, there's trouble at home, maybe there are fears or anxieties that are kind of keeping you up at night. But whatever the problem is, and I want to let you guys know that we all have them, but regardless of the problem, we have 2 choices on how we can handle the situation. We can either try to go through it on our own and say, oh, no, I got this. I don't need anybody's help. Or we can put trust into God. And because when we go and do it alone, usually things don't work out too well for us. Sometimes it can be overwhelming by our problems. We get flipped out and we end up kind of falling flat on our faces. But when we take that time to put our trust into God, it can be a little bit easier just knowing that the creator of the whole universe, he's watching out for us. He's watching out for you. And we might not exactly know 100%, what's he doing. But when we give up our control and we let God just have the entire situation, he's going to take care of it the way he needs to take care of it. And so that's what I want to encourage you guys as we get ready to start this brand new year. Just this idea when we hold our faith and we trust into God, we're going to land exactly where he wants us to. And we're going to find ourselves in a really safe place, a very good place, because God loves us and God cares for us. And so as we look at 2021, I want to encourage you guys to take that step in this brand new year and to trust God, because he's going to do some pretty miraculous things, but we have to first give him the control to be able to do that. And so we're going to close with a time of prayer, and I just want to encourage you guys to join me in that. Hey, God, thank you so much for this time together, just for this time as we get ready to wrap up 2020, and as we're looking up to the next upcoming year, God. My prayer is that you just help us not flip out when times get tough, but ultimately just to trust in you instead. We know that when we put our trust in you, that we're going to land in a safe place, and that place is going to be with you, because you are our God. Even we learned about it last series, right? You are Emmanuel, you are God with us, and so we hold on to that truth. And so just be with us throughout this upcoming year, God. In whatever way that might be, whether it's at school, at home, with our friends, we're just going to continue to trust you. You are so good to us, and it's your name I pray. Amen. So usually we will introduce a series or a Bible verse during our series, but since we only kind of have this 1 week, I'm actually just going to say a really cool verse. I think it's a really encouragement for us, and it comes from 1 Corinthians 6:13, but it says to be on guard and to stand firm in your faith. Be brave and be strong. And so I hope that's encouraging for you as we get ready for this upcoming year. And so I can't wait to see what's exciting in store for this. And so I'd love for you to continue to tune in with us. But until then, I'll talk to you guys later.